All right, so you're here with us again because, well, you want to know what's happening out there, but you don't have all day to comb through every headline. So we're going to do that for your today, and we're taking a look at some pretty interesting movement in the crypto world, specifically focusing on a particular Monday. And we've got information here that's going to help us figure out, what went down with Bitcoin and Ether prices that day, and really what it tells us about the bigger picture, what forces might have been at play.
Yeah, definitely. I think, looking at specific days like this, it can help us understand those bigger trends a little bit better.
Okay, so let's get into it. Our information here tells us that on this Monday, Bitcoin, that's BTC USD, saw a pretty decent drop. It was down about 5%.
Yeah, 5%, that's not nothing for a single day. But, it's interesting because earlier that same morning, it was actually down even more. So it actually bounced back a bit to end the day at that 5% down mark.
Huh, so it wasn't just, straight down all day long.
Interesting.
Okay, and what about Ether? How did ETH USD do on the same Monday?
So Ether actually saw a bigger drop than Bitcoin. It was trading down by more than 10% that day. And, kind of similar to Bitcoin, it had also been down even more earlier in the morning.
Okay, so both of them down that day, but Ether with a, significantly bigger drop. So the question is why? What was going on that might have caused this?
Well, the information we've got here, it points directly to something happening in the wider global markets. It says global markets sank amid tariff tensions. So it seems that's the main thing that was affecting crypto that day.
Tariff tensions.
Hmm.
I feel like we hear that phrase a lot, but can you remind me again, what exactly does that mean, and why does it matter for the economy? Why should I care about that?
Yeah, sure. So basically, tariff tensions happen when countries, they're not really seeing eye to eye when it comes to trade. It often means that one country is threatening to or has already put tariffs in place. And tariffs are basically taxes on goods coming in from other countries. So if one country puts a tariff on goods from another, it makes those goods more expensive for people to buy. And that can lead to all sorts of problems. It can make businesses less profitable. It can hurt consumers who have to pay more. And it can just create a lot of uncertainty in the global economy.
Right. Okay. So if there are all these tariff tensions, countries arguing about trade, it makes investors nervous. And then they start pulling back from riskier assets, like maybe cryptocurrencies.
Exactly. It makes people want to, play it safe. They might sell off their crypto holdings and move their money into something that feels more stable.
Okay, so it sounds like what happened on this Monday wasn't just some random crypto thing. It was part of a much bigger global reaction to, to all this stuff going on with trade.
Right. And it's a good reminder that, crypto markets, they don't exist in a vacuum. They're definitely influenced by what's happening in the wider world.
Yeah, definitely. So just to recap, we saw Bitcoin down around 5%, Ether down more than 10%. And the big culprit seems to be global market anxiety caused by these tariff tensions.
Exactly. And it makes you think, we often talk about crypto as being this decentralized, separate thing. But when you see stuff like this, it really highlights how connected it actually is to the global economy as a whole.
Yeah, for sure. And, it really makes you wonder. I mean, if something like a trade dispute between, two countries can have this much of an impact on crypto, what else is out there that we're not even thinking about? What other global events or trends could have a ripple effect on this market that we haven't even considered? It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it.
Absolutely. It's a very complex system. And, the more we learn about these connections, the better equipped we'll be to navigate this space.
That's a fact. Well, on that note, we'll leave you to ponder those connections for yourself. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, and we'll catch you next time.